What's up, everybody? Welcome to Indie Game Business. I'm Indy. That guy way over there, that's Jay. And in the middle, we have the tail cat. I don't even know what you call that. A cat taint? We know we have Jerome and Tyler, and they are the founders of Indie Game Database, which is igdb.com. What's up, Jay? And Jay had an emergency. He's short. So what's up, you guys? Heine, what's up? Heine's in the house. So if you guys could please, I just said that you sharted.
Well, Elsa literally waited until we went live and then started like calling at the door.
Oh, I thought you were like, oh dang it, I forgot my beer.
No. It's actually too cold right now.
It's too cold for a beer. Yeah. So yeah, these are the founders of the Indie. Tell us about. We have the questions lined up, don't we, Jay?
Yeah. All right. So
here we go.
These are two of the people behind the wonderful team of the Internet Game Database, which is a fantastic site if you've never been there. And one thing I want to work in at some point is tell me again, how many platforms of games do you all have?
Last I checked, I think there was 132.
Yeah. So I didn't know there were 132. You know, this is like one of those things that if you sit down and you say, all right, here's a piece of paper, name all 50 states in the US. It's like, I can do that. But if someone says, here's a piece of paper, even name 50 game platforms, I probably couldn't do it.
Well, a lot of them are really cool, like, you know, the old school retro stuff and different chipware for the ZX Spectrum and the strange Asian only handheld thing.
Nokia Engage.
That's still so freaking cool. Right, so give us the background on the two of you, you know, personally. It's like, how did you find yourself in our industry, and, you know, walk us through what you've done over, you know, the course of your careers.
Sure, go ahead, Jerome.
I essentially, my background is in design. So I'm the product designer at IGTV. Some of us might actually also know me as the community manager. And I do a bunch of other stuff like in marketing and all, but my core background is design. So the way I landed in IGTV is, or gaming in general, is that I started doing esports. Because my previous job, I landed a job in e-gaming, which if you're in the US, you might not know what that stands for. But at the time I was living in the UK, and that's a term that by recruiters to con you into online gambling. Yeah, so that was pretty soul crushing. However, what happened is that I have lots of stories about how much I hated my job. But essentially what happened is that they got really big into esports betting. And because I was the gamer in the office, that landed on my plate. And they got some pretty big sponsorships and that sort of thing. So I landed quite a lot of job for sponsorships of CSGO teams and Dota teams, that sort of thing. Moving on from there, I started freelancing. So because that was my angle into gaming, and gaming was always kind of like my ideal goal, just because it's an industry I always been very much into and loved. I got a lot of contacts via my esports stuff. And meanwhile, I discovered IGTV as a user back when it was in beta about 2014, 2013, I think. And I got to talk to the guys, like the CEO and the backend developers and stuff at the time. There was a very small hobby project. And I got in touch with them, just helping them as a user. And when I started freelancing, I started getting in touch with them if I could help them out. So I did a lot of their social media stuff, some prototyping on the websites and that sort of thing. And I don't really know when I got hired, because it just kind of snowballed from there.
Just kind of happened.
Yeah, exactly. It just literally kind of happened. Like
one day I started getting a check. That's all I know.
Well, at first it was just like random freelance stuff. Hey, you know, we like what you do. We do. We're out, and that just kind of grew, and then now I'm technically a full-time employee. And so it's been a very interesting journey for me personally, because first of all, it's been my gateway into the gaming industry, which I've always been aiming at. That was pretty much a dream come true. And secondly, since I started as a user, that is a very specific entry point for me, since I get to design the product that I use and I love using.
Yeah.
So I have that very interesting angle where I'm not just an employee, I'm also the target consumer.
Yes. I
Nice.
think that's how a lot of us do.
You know
this.
what? I just signed up and I just got my username.
Oh,
Nice.
well, I'll add you as a friend.
So what about you, Tyler? How did you land here?
Yeah, so I worked at a startup before this in St. Louis, and I was employee number 5 there, and I was there for about 6 years, and helped grow that to about 120 employees, and yeah, it was really good. I loved it, but in my free time, I was doing some programming, so I'm a software developer, like by trade, I guess, like by education. But then I just kind of evolved more into the business side, basically. And so, yeah, I was looking for something new, and I was doing some development on the side for fun. And I was looking for a way to help me sort my own backlog, basically, because as you get older, you run out of time to play games, and I love playing games, so I was trying to find a good way. And there was a lot of applications out there, but I kind of wanted to build my own because I wanted to help sharpen my skills. So I found the API, and I was like, oh, awesome. This is exactly what I'm looking for to help me make this application. And then, yeah, after that, I kept visiting the site every day because I started to get hooked, and I saw that there was a job posting. So I read through the job posting. It sounded like exactly what I wanted to do. It was perfect. And Jerome probably remembers this, but basically one of the requirements initially was that you lived in Sweden, but I wrote this really long letter just explaining why I'm the best person for this job. Just my past experience at the company I was at before, and my passion and what I want to do, and so I just wrote this letter and got a call back and kept talking. And then next thing you know, got an offer, and I was like, hell yeah, definitely, this is something I want to do. So it's been just a dream, honestly. I love it here. I've only been here about 2 months now, but I just absolutely love it.
All right, and so to be clear, and so everybody understands, you all are actually funded and backed. So it's not like this is a hobby job that you do when you get home from work. You
not
really
anymore.
Get paid. Yeah, you get paid, and
Yeah.
you have a salary. Maintaining this. So how did that come about? I mean, because usually sites like this are passion projects. They're not, funded.
Well, you're quite right, because that's exactly how it started. So say our CEO, because essentially more startup with his 8 people, and our CEO, he acquired the domain name in 2012, if I remember correctly, and from there on he started looking for other passionate people to help him build the site, and up until 2015, if I remember correctly, it was just a hobby project. So they managed to get some funds and get a few developers to move across country, to relocate to Sweden, to actually become an actual business. They joined a game incubator in Gothenburg. And since then, it's been growing. Now we have our own office. Now we're quite more international. We have Tyler in the US, and I'm elsewhere. I move a bit. So it's been quite a very interesting journey to create a product where we're all passionate about, and we are able to make a living out of it.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we're able to do that is there's we have the consumer side. If you'll notice, there's no ads on there or anything.
We hate ads.
Yeah,
we don't want ads.
Yeah, ever. So one of the things that we do is we try to be part of, go to the B2B route for that, and that's the way that we're going to fund the project and keep it going. I guess it's more than a project now, but that's the way that we're going to do it. So yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, because
Sure.
obviously we are on the B2B side here on the
Yep.
show. What
Yep.
is that? What's the benefits of it? What's it cost? What do you get? Give us the sales
Yeah.
pitch.
Yeah, so right now, the main way that we have is through our API. So we have an API where we help distribute that data back into the industry. So, for example, like I wanted to make that application, like I was able to get that data back. We're revamping the pricing right now, actually, but that is, and one of the things that we believed in and that we wanted to do was always make sure that a free version of the API is available. And so we take the data that we have, add data to that as well, and then redistribute that back to the industry. And like, applications and stuff will use that data, and then it kind of goes in like a full circle basically. So like the user will see where it comes from. They'll want to go to IGDB, or, maybe, they just like want to use the API themselves. So we have basically like a premium tier of that, where if you're doing a larger scale and you need more infrastructure, like we can support that. That's just the entry though. There's sky's the limit. There's a lot of different like paths that we can go on, and right now we're exploring some other opportunities. For example, like we have some deals with some big gaming hardware manufacturers, and also publishers as well. They're just looking at like different trends and stuff with the data. So that's how we fund it and keep it ad free.
That's awesome, because a lot of that data is extremely, extremely valuable.
Yeah.
So basically, the IGDB is a database of a bunch of games, plus there's a social aspect to it, and there's Discord. I mean, is that like the basics of what it is, or is there more to it?
There is more to it, and there will be more to it. A bunch of games, to be more precise, we have about 180,000.
That's a bunch.
So, yeah, that's a bunch. So the thing is that we're very global. Like we don't discriminate on anything. We are actually something we are very careful about is to stay neutral. So we don't, handpick like AAA or indies or mobile games. We kind of are very inclusive of everything. So you will be able, like, if you go on the site and like search for something you've played in your childhood, you will probably find it.
So is it user?
Like Tyler was explaining, we have two sides. We have the consumer side and the B2B side.
Okay.
And the consumer side obviously is the .com. We'll still have apps which are in development, but with the consumer side, we're hoping to obviously share all the games with people. Like it's incredibly difficult to realize how much game is out there. Not just in the past, but even currently. There's so much stuff coming out. Like people are aware of it, but they don't really realize the extent of how much stuff is there. And we're really trying to push more games out there, and that's where the indie games come into play, where we're trying to help them out.
Okay. And one of the other things that we are doing is we want to elevate the people behind the games. So if you have a favorite voice actor or a favorite developer or something, like everyone knows like their favorite movie star, but I don't think everyone knows like which developers did what game and which games you like. And so we want to build that bridge between the consumers or gamers and the industry. So that's one of the things that we want to do.
So that's funny. Jay and I both totally just searched the first games that we ever played as kids, and we posted. I don't know if you guys are reading the Twitch chat as well. His was Jupiter Lander, and mine was Telengard, which was a Commodore 64 game.
Yeah, same with mine. Mine was a Commodore 64.
That it took it had like a. I know this is way before your guys' time, but it was before floppy disks or any kind of disks, right? So you had like a little. Well, it was a big cassette player.
The cassette tapes, is it?
And then you like stick it in there, and it'd take like 20 minutes to load, and then it was
Jupiter Lander was on a cartridge.
Oh, was it a cartridge? Yeah, my Commodore 64 didn't have a cartridge.
Yeah, the only tape deck game that I had was Snoopy versus the Red Baron, and oh my God, yes, it was like put the tape in the tape deck, go eat dinner, take a nap, take a bath,
That's some
come back
bad loading.
and it might be done, so you can play for 20 minutes. I mean, it was crazy back then. But and it's funny now because so we signed up for the $20 Nintendo Switch online, whatever, and so you get all of these old games. And as we were going around running errands yesterday, my 7-year-old is in the back with the Switch, and I hear the Mario 3 music come on, and then I hear, I died again. I died. I was like, yeah, it was hard, wasn't it? You know, it wasn't like get hit by a Koopa and lose a heart. You know, it's like, you died. So, all right, so essentially, you know, you're not only you're like an IMDb of sorts as well, you know, tracking, you know, people's careers. So, you know, as a creator, can I go in and say, okay, here are the games that I was involved with, and this was, you know, my role on each of those games? I mean, is it?
Yes, yeah, to some extent you can. That's something we'll expand on later. But for example, one of the data we offer is credits. So pretty much anything that any game that will have like an end credit list, we can track those people. So we have like, I don't know, 150,000 professionals on the site right now.
Yeah.
And that includes obviously designers, developers, QA testers, etc. And voice actors as well. And for example, voice actors, they can register the verified profile, and then we can demography according to what they played in and the roles and the characters they played in. So that was kind of testing the waters. We intended to develop that further and allow that for indie devs, for example, or devs in general. So like if you're a game studio and you create an account, you could claim your company page and edit all that information. There's one thing that you haven't mentioned actually that is very important is the database is actually free. It's all open source. So anybody that is a user can go and edit and add games, which is one of the ways we've got so many game pages. So if you're an indie game, for example, you can go and just add your game to the site.
Yep.
You can add your game, you can add your company. So let's talk about that for just a little bit. You know, as an indie team, and we know one of the biggest issues out there is discoverability. You know, there's so many games that are, you know, released every day at this point. You know, how does it benefit me as an indie developer to go on and, you know, create my company page and create my game pages? You know, what's the big benefit there for these studios?
Well, one of the first obvious benefits is that because we're a big database, we managed to automate a lot of services. So for example, any one of the 180,000 plus games that we have, all of those have press kits. So we managed to automate the data from the game page into a press kit. So if you're a game page, a game company, you add your game, you will automatically get a press kit, for example. So for very small indie games, that's a gain of time.
Yeah.
Like why would you bother and go like, you know, host your own website, etc.? Like all you have to do is add your screenshots, your trailer, your company details, and you're done.
Yep.
Adding to that, if your game is about to release, we can also automate like a live countdown page, which is pretty popular as well.
Very cool. Is there one of those live right now?
Yeah, plenty. Let me grab you a link.
Yeah, and then the discoverability part, like one of the things is like users can add things to lists, and we can understand like what users like by rating them, and we can recommend games, and we don't like discriminate against like whether we recommend like AAAs, indies, whatever. It's just whatever fits like the profile the best. So that's one way. The other way is like in our new design, there's going to be more ways for indies to be discovered with a voting system. That's going to be like one of the main ways. But also like we have partnerships with, like we work closely with some game services as well. And if we see like on our platform that, hey, you're about to be released, you're like, we've noticed that you have like some traction, like even if it's like very small, like even if it's just like your team visiting the site or something, we can then like recommend that to that service, like, hey, you should reach out to this person. I know like we've already connected like some indie devs with some game services already, whether it be through Discord or through like looking at that popularity based on our site. So, and we understand, like, you know, a lot of people that are providing this information or like have it, like they just look at like the top 50 games and like, of course it's going to be like Call of Duty, like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto. Like that's not helpful to a business that wants to look at, oh, like if I'm Nintendo, for example, and I want to look at for the next indie, like, and I look at like the top 25 games or whatever, like you know, like Call of Duty, like that's a no-go, right? So I need like it to be curated a bit. And we help game services companies and other companies like find those games.
Now, is it possible for studios to go in and say, you know, search for publishers, for example, or is that more on the business side?
We have publishers, Retro.
We do. We have two types of company: developers, publishers. Actually, we have more. Also, like porting developers, assisting developer, etc. But like essentially, it falls into two groups: publishers and developers. So we have that information. It's just from the consumer side, it's searching for that is not as easy as you'd think.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, if you know what you're searching for, that's fine. But I think what Tyler was referring to is more filtering via the API and the database itself.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we've seen like I don't know, with our API, like that's why we're like revamping the site and stuff. Like we saw like a lot of traction that we just didn't think that we were gonna see. Like we've had like 10,000 registered API users, I think. It's just like crazy. And then like whenever we talk to people, they're like, oh, this is so awesome. Like I want to be able to solve this problem, or I want to be able to use your data to make this decision. Or, you know, and so now like with our redesign and like, I don't know, it's the future, like we're seeing all this like possibility, which will just allow us to continue to make the core, like the B2C service, like free and ad free, and, you know, and help the bridge between the industry and the gamers. So
it's been very awesome to see what people do as well with the data. Like like Tyler mentioned, we have so many API key users, and it ranges from like university projects to researchers to backlog apps to hobby projects to e-commerce sites and everything. And they talk back to us. A lot of them are in our Discord, and we have a really healthy community of developers that just, you know, just feedback input and help each other. And it's been very, very empowering to see what people come up that we do, that we provide them with. I mean, so like we have no issues with them, you know, using our API, making a competitive product if they want to, because it's, as long as it benefits the industry and makes gaming as a whole better.
Yeah, and so we have like a platform that we started to build called Echelon, and it's a way for publishers and like people in the industry to basically like, it's basically like a GUI on top of our API. So, and it allows those people to find those indie games and to make those decisions.
I'm sitting here and now that, and I've been on the site before, but now that we're starting to like talk about it, and I'm just like diving in going, what was this game I somewhat remember way back in the day?
I know, I'm looking at it. I want to wait. Yeah. I'm going to get some karma. One thing that happened is just, I can't, my Twitch won't connect. There's a glitch.
Yeah, I believe I know what that glitch is.
That's obviously like a design issue.
It's
an
indie issue. Indie did it. I did it. I broke it.
The thing is that we're very close to start. So the site that you're looking at now, the current site, is going to get revamped entirely from the ground up in the coming weeks. Like gradually, it's not going to be all at once because it's a beast. But yeah, very, very soon we're going to have like a brand new beta version of RGTV.com. And a lot of those issues that you're finding now solved. If not, that's probably, as the product designer, I should have planned for those.
So, and now I've got messages coming in from people going, what is this? Where's this game? So I get distracted like I always do. No.
Yeah.
But so it's cool. You put the link up, and Indy, I don't know if you got the link on the stream, but you put a link up to, and I'm going to crucify the name of this game, but Nayari, and that's from our friends over at Houndpicked. And so
We
guys-
know Houndpicked, yeah. Cool dudes. Yeah, we had a talk with them not too long ago.
So
But
when
yeah,
you've got
that's a good example.
So you've got the countdown going on, and you can basically just funnel your fans through to that to see when everything's going to launch. Then
Yeah, it's quite handy because obviously it's by platform, but also by region. So it doesn't matter if you're in NA or EU or Japan or something like that. Like the countdown will to whoever's clicking on it. So that's really interesting for devs to track traction.
Interesting.
Not specifically for this one, but like we can also track versions. So that's another data that we have, is that now games coming up in multiple versions, like the game of the year and etc. And we can actually via the countdown see who want to play and what they put into their playlist.
so
Interesting.
what are some you've got the new version that's going to start slowly rolling out. Is it going to sit side by side with the existing version, or is it all going to
Yeah.
So we're gonna do basically like we have some pages that are like kind of like we separate the site out, so like a sitemap basically. One of the first two pages that we're gonna do is the Discover page, which is like the landing page that you land on, and then also the games page, which is like if you go to a single game, like you'll see a view of that. And right now, those are the two that we're gonna launch first. We're gonna keep the old one up, obviously, and then slowly like roll out the new pages. And one of the things that we really love, and that's why Jerome, it's so great to have him on the team, is like because he was a user before, and he has like that lens of like, hey,
I still am a user.
Well, yeah, everyone is, but yeah. But the thing is, it's like in our Discord and stuff, like Jerome has created like such a good community there that we actually rely on them for a lot of feedback. Like we want to build something that the users want to use, obviously, but I mean, anyone does, but we like talk directly with them every day. Like someone is in there 24/7, like talking with them and like showing them screenshots. And we pull like our beta testers from there as well, whether it be for like a new API launch or the new design. We want like really good candid feedback. And so we want to build something that the users want to use.
Yeah, we're definitely not shy about what we're doing. We're very open. So if wants to join the Discord, because obviously I'm the designer as well. So like, if you ask about how things are going, I can literally show you the stuff that I'm designing. So I've been screenshotting a lot of the stuff on a regular basis and asking people for feedback. Like, what do you want in a list filter, and how do you want this feature to be, and do you use this? Do you not use it? It's a back and forth, but that's how community works.
What do you think the most common action on the site is? What do you think that is?
The most requested upgrade is, like, from a consumer point of view, like gamers. I'm not talking about devs or industry, that sort of thing. A lot of people use the site to create lists, custom lists or backlog lists, etc. So they want improved filtering, be able to sort out by platform, by compare lists with your friends. How many of this. Say, for example, one of the most popular page we have a top 100 games of all time. I can link that on the chat right now, and that's really popular and it's really fun because it's across all platforms, across everything.
Yeah.
The oldest game we have is 1958, by the way. So.
1958. Wow.
What game was that?
That is Tennis for Two on the oscillator.
I figured it was an early version of Skyrim.
Yeah, that's a safe bet.
Tennis for Two. I'm gonna search that right now. I'm actually looking at the API page. I don't know if you guys would like to talk about the API as well and what you're doing with that.
Sure, Tyler can, yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna relaunch the pricing, like I said. Right now we have like a lot of different tiers on the pricing, and we want to make it a little bit more simple. We're gonna keep the free tier. We're always gonna have the free tier forever. And basically, the API allows you to get all the data from the site, plus some additional information that maybe we don't have on the site right now, such as like achievements, data, for example. And it also, depending on what tier you're on, you get different levels of support and different levels of like webhooks and stuff like that. So yeah, like we're coming out with a new version of it in 2 weeks. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But yeah, in 2 weeks we're gonna come out with another version, and we're gonna launch new pricing with it. And yeah, people are still gonna be able to build their hobby projects. It's gonna be good. Basically, the only like difference is how much like requests that you need. If you're like a larger application, you need like a lot of requests, then we have to support that. So we have to charge some money for that. But at the same time, we're very very flexible. We have like enterprise as well. So if like you're looking for something special or you need us to do something special for you, like we support that. And that's where a lot of our deals come from, is the enterprise. But at the same time, like we want to continue to support education. And we're a small company, and we understand like maybe you need a higher request limit, but like money's kind of tight. That's fine. Like one of the things that we do is like data exchanges as well. So like if you're like a company that's doing something like with building lists, and you want to use like our data, or you're doing like something with social, we're always open for negotiation of like, oh, if you can tell us like, this game's in so many lists, or this game was rated here for you, or something like that, then like, we can work out like some sort of negotiation on that. So.
All right. So I'm going to be the technically ignorant one here.
Sure.
When you're looking at the pricing and you say, okay, I need 3,000 requests or 10,000 requests, what constitutes a request?
So a request is basically like an ask for a piece of data. It's not like each piece is a request, but like you make like a call, which is like basically you hit a URL and you get some information back. And so like for every like time you do that, that's one request. So like if you hit it once, like we have like a limit of how much stuff you get back, right? So if you do all games, like you don't get like all 180,000 back in one request, because like that would take forever. So we have to like page it, right? Like search results. Like if you Google something, like it's paged, and like each page that you go on is another like request. So that would be like a request. Or maybe you need maybe you want to search like a game and get very specific information. That is like another request. And so like that, you can see how like, I don't know what the limit on the free tier right now. We're gonna change it, but like you can see how, you can do a lot with the free tier that we have currently.
So if I've got a game and I'm creating, say, an RPG for PC and Switch, is it possible with the API to go in and say, I want to see all the publishers that have published games on the Switch?
I believe that functionality is there. I'm pretty new, so that's why I see it right now. But if that functionality isn't there, we should have that there. We want to empower like people to do that, but the tool for that is more like the Echelon tool, which like we haven't publicly launched yet. We have some people using it, but that's kind of like a GUI on top of the API to use. But you could pull the information and then find that out for sure.
That Echelon tool, if you think about it, it's more like a market analysis tool, because that's essentially the problem with the API is that you have to be technical to use it.
Yes.
So like so someone like you, for example, unless you're like a dev or you have knowledge of like database query, it's a bit tricky. So the reason for Echelon is that we wanted to have a tool that uses the power of the API and the database. But if you're just a marketeer or a publisher or just an indie game looking for something, you should be able to just have something simple to use, like a search bar and then a couple of filters, which is essentially what that GUI that Tyler's talking about is.
Yeah, we could give you guys an account for that too, if you guys want to look at that.
I would love that.
I mean, disclaimer, it's definitely in beta, if not alpha.
yeah, but we're building on it, and it's something we want feedback for, so absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
I mean, when we first started talking a couple of weeks ago, in my head, it was very much like, okay, this site is a IMDb or a Wikipedia of sorts of games. In reality, what you're doing is bringing in a whole lot of aspects of different services that, normally you need to go to 5 or 6 websites to actually get everything, but it's all in one nice, little package. I mean, I can go in there and see, what shows are coming up soon, award shows. You've got the PlayStation Awards and the Game Awards show both coming up in December, and they're right here on the site. Events to go to. I can create my press list. A lot of these tools that indies need, and they typically have to bounce around 3 or 4 websites to get it done. They're all right here. And this is
correct. So that's
everybody.
This is part of the vision. Is we want to be like that single source of truth, right? In the gaming space, like we want to have that information and distribute that to the industry and back to it. So whether that be like what awards are coming up, what award shows are coming up, or like just any basic like genre analysis, like anything. Like we just want to be like that. The truth, like the single source of that.
Are you guys going to do anything that is like job related? Job searches, people posting jobs, anything like that?
That's So one of the things that I think we mentioned at the beginning, maybe not, but like people in the industry, right? So we want to be that bridge. One of the things that we got some traction on, and we kind of like threw it out there as just like let's try and see if people are interested. It was voice actors. So we got like a lot of voice actors that wanted to sign up and have a page. Well, like the next step in that is one, like they like to use that for like a resume. Like it's like a quick way of being like, oh, I worked on these games. Like here's my verified page. You can see, and that's great. But the next thing is like, what if I am, an indie developer and I want to find a voice actor, for example? Like how do I do that? I know there's like some sites that have some job postings, right? And there's LinkedIn and stuff, but to be able to see, oh, this person voice acted this and this and this, or oh, this person was an artist for this game and this game, and I'm looking for something similar to these games, for my art style or something. That's the sky's the limit dream right there. Like that's another path that we can take and continue to fund what we're doing. So yeah, absolutely. That is on the roadmap for sure.
I mean, so the next big one I would think of is influencers. I mean, to be able to go on and say, okay, here's my simulation game, and I want to find Twitch and YouTube and Mixer streamers that do this sort of stuff. That would be.
Yeah, and find like maybe a streamer that like plays. If you're making FPS, like plays first-person shooters often, or someone who like. If you're making like a management game and it's someone who like plays RimWorld a lot, I want them to do that. The other thing, so like that's definitely a spot that we're exploring that, and I think I may have mentioned this already, maybe not, but like the beta key thing. So like, let's say I'm like an indie dev and I have some beta keys I want to give out. I don't want to give it out. I don't want to get like if I'm making a racing game, I don't want to give it out to someone who just plays puzzle games. Like I want to give it out to people who play racing games because I want to get like a good good feedback back of people who play other racing games. So we can like help distribute those keys for them, like to connect them with the gamers, and gamers get to play a new game and they get to use some feedback.
Something kind of like Keymailer or Woobit, right?
Yeah, it's very similar.
French Dev, thank you for the follow. And Tobor, thank you for the host, dude. Woo! Thank you, guys.
So, I mean, this is far more than I thought that we would be able to hit. I mean, my brain is racing on this end anyway.
It's a bit of a beast. There's quite a lot out there.
There's some. I mean, it's a wonderful solution. I mean, it's absolutely to be able to go in and have one site where I can post my game, post my company's history. Because I'll tell you, that is like one of my favorite parts about the site is to go to a company page basically, and then look at the timeline.
Oh yeah,
you have in there for the games that they've done. That is awesome to me. It's, just you can see when things came out, and then you can go click and look at the reviews, and a lot of this stuff is frankly stuff that we do. We do for people going to trade shows, and that's one of the things that we preach is, when you're going to an event and you're meeting with a company, you want to make sure that they are, publishing the types of games that you publish, but also that they're good at it, basically.
Yeah, you want to match their portfolio, right? Like I wouldn't go to Chucklefish with like a fully 3D like first-person shooter or something. I would go to Chucklefish with like a pixel, a pixel very story narrative-driven game, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm sitting here looking at Bethesda right now, just to, the number of.
They made a lot.
Telltale. That's what I'm gonna look up.
Yeah, obviously, like a lot of that stuff is pretty to look at, but like it's a monumental task as well. Like both in terms of features and development, but also in terms of data. Like we thankfully have quite a good community, and people are very willing to help us out and like fill some data, and that's why it's kind of open source. Like anybody that has an account can just go and it's like Wikipedia pretty much. Like,
all right, so
what's crazy is
missing screenshots, you can add them.
What's crazy is how quick the games load. Like you do a search and it's all just like brrr, and it populates. And you scroll down and it populates, and you scroll down and it populates. It's almost instantaneous. I mean, you can see it populate, but it's super fast.
We'll let the backend team know that.
Yeah.
We're trying to improve that too. So we always want to make search as easy as possible. So that's something we'll definitely.
Yeah, like for the new site, I've planned quite some cool features on the search. So hopefully that'll be nice and snappy.
So I see in the chat that you embedded the stream in there as well. Did you just put the link in and it automatically embedded it, or the chat?
You mean the homepage
and the IGTV,
the feed.
In the feed.
Yeah, because that's one thing we haven't talked about. We have some light social features. So we have a feed on the homepage. It is literally you can post something, but you can also tag that something with a game in the site. So what I just did now is actually just copy pasted the Twitch link. So we have embedded features for Twitch, Vimeo, YouTube, Twitter, all the sort of things, which is also for some indie games, indie devs that have been posting on the feed, so they can actually share some development news and progress. But the cool thing is you can tag your game.
That's the.
Why isn't everyone doing what?
I was like, why isn't everyone using this?
Oh, using it. Yeah.
Well, because I agree.
There's like we aren't the only place that has like data like this. Like there's some other places. We do it like a bit different for sure. But also like the other thing is like we've grown like organically, so like we haven't dumped as much marketing into it yet as we'd like to. We're kind of waiting for that redesign because we want to put like our best foot forward, right? And this is just like, I mean, this is good, but we want to be a lot better than this. So I agree. Everyone should use it. That would make me happy.
Yeah. Go and sign up.
Let me tell you, from doing this for 20 years, as it is right now, it's a pretty damn good foot to put forward before you get to that point.
That's great to know.
So, see, I'm spending more time flipping through the site and finding stuff than I am actually, asking these questions that we've got going on here. So, let's get into more of the curiosity stuff. Sure. What is the most obscure, random, or rare game that's in here?
I can probably answer that because I've been going through the site for a couple of years now. Actually, because one of the features we have is you can create your list and that sort of thing. So I have my own personal list that I've called weird shit. And I'll share it on the feed. But I think one of the weird things that I've found was something called Mosquito Man, something like that. It's a weird ass PS2 game, and it's just very odd. Mr. Mosquito, sorry. That is very odd. That's a weird one. Everybody's heard of Seaman, of course, on Dreamcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Wait, that was a 2? I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that was a 2.
Ah, well, you're missing out.
See, this is irritating that Sony like cleared this Mr. Mosquito game, but not like some of the actual honest to God RPGs that we tried to bring over from Japan at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that get cleared and no one else, did?
Oh, I see a game. I found a game that's not on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is that?
It's a Google Play game that nobody played.
What are yours?
From December 19th, 2013.
This is like the game that we play or that I play anyway every time I go into our local. We have a local store called Game Father that basically they don't sell new games that much, but they do sell a bunch of old games. They have all of these glass cases full of what now I guess are retro games, but it's like GBA up through the dual screen and all these old Nintendo. And so my favorite game when we go in the mall is to go in there and see how many of the shitty games that I worked on are actually in that to be bought for like $12 because they're rare at this point. And I'm like, if you only knew, what went through getting that done,
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for the follows. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting the mobile game that you mentioned. So like mobile is a very interesting space for us because there's a lot of people that do different things for mobile games, and we want to have some as well, and we do. But there's also like a lot of really say interesting games on mobile as well that I don't know if you would consider them like a game. So there's like a lot of like with the big Jerome, you can speak more on this about the V-Bucks stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So like obviously we wanted to feature, like I mentioned, we're very all inclusive, and mobile, as I call it outside the US, is something we wanted to get into. The problem is that the app stores, both of them, is so much stuff, and we get run into the issue of like, what's a game?
Yeah.
Like, because like on the app store, like for example, like online gambling is a game. Like the casino slots are games. The teach ABC to your kid apps are games. The Fortnite V-Bucks quizzes are games. So like then we have to still kind of do some manual checks as to what constitutes a games that we think are valid for a database in terms of like tracking taxonomy, like because that's one thing we do. Many games from 1958 to the future, we have to make sure that we're actually tracking the history of gaming. So that's something that's been very interesting to us and our community is what is a game?
Yeah.
Like some people don't consider visual novels as games. We have many on the site.
So who gets to decide at the end of the day,
Well,
what
we don't really
constitutes
like
a
to
game?
impose. We put some light bans. Say like we don't have anything that involves like gambling, slots, that sort of thing. Apps at least. If it's been released on a console, like the weird, PS2 pachinko, only in Japan.
Golden Nugget casino games
exactly.
for 64 and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously there's plenty of like casino apps that are in the app stores are considered games that we don't consider game, for example. But
Yeah.
it's a difficult thing. Like we don't want to be that authoritative over the community. So ideally, it's a conversation with our community.
So
Yeah.
what about games based on ratings? I mean, like, are there, what is the site? Nakatu, something along those lines that sells basically the adult only type games.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
question.
That is a very good question, especially very topical now that Steam has kind of opened the floodgate to everything. We do have a lot of adult content games, quite a lot, as a matter of fact, thanks to Steam. What we do is, I mean, we don't really judge any of that. That's fine. The only thing we do is that we kind of tend to filter it out from the homepage, etc., just because of, not suitable for work sort of content. So it's there, but it's just kind of hidden from the front.
And we also make sure like the screenshots like are relatively suitable for work. Right?
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Relative.
But in terms of data, of course, it's interesting to know how many hentai puzzle games come out every day on Steam. And I can tell you many, many. But yeah, like that's an interesting question because, for example, it's almost a cultural thing in Japan. There's a developer called Illusion Softworks that are infamous for only doing raid games, for example, which do not come out outside of Japan, and it's very odd and very hard to understand for non-Japanese, I'm sure, but those are genuine games that come out.
Yeah.
So from a tracking point of view and from a taxonomy, like making sure you categorize gaming, we categorize them as well.
So as a gamer, when I go and I create my page and I'm looking at yours right now, are you a Dirty Bastion camper? Is that why you have Bastion on here at the
that was actually well, first of all, I made that because like I said, I'm a whole ton of Photoshop, and I used to stream my Photoshop. Actually, that's something that I used to do Overwatch posters based on different characters. And the reason that's there is because I was testing the site by uploading a new banner and I forgot about it. That's why it's kind of... So I forgot to change it, but technically that's one of the designs that I made.
All right, so is it possible, can you track like my gamer tag badges? I mean, or the badges that are on there just for the things you earn on the site?
Currently, yes. However, we have... So people linking, their Steam ID, their PSN ID and stuff, and then we'll be able to link their libraries. One of the big things that I've planned for the redesign is a lot of stats based on your profile. So say once you go into your profile, we should be able to tell you what is your most played platform, what is your favorite genre based on all the games you've rated, like customized stats based on your gaming footprint, essentially. And as part of that, we have intentions of linking to stores and such. All that because it takes a while, but.
So there's another good question then. What stores are you linking to now? So if I'm going to launch my game and I'm going to launch it on Steam and Discord and Humble and Green Man and GOG, am I able to link to all of those stores on our game site?
Not all of them currently, because if you logged in, for example, now, if you go to add a game, and you'll see what I mean, different tabs of all the different types of information you can edit. And we have a pretty extensive website tab where we say an indie game would go there and add, their official page, their Twitter, their social, etc. And then the store links. Store links right now we have Steam, obviously, itch.io, and we'll expand that to Discord. Although Discord, I think we're going to expand it to the server, which I'm guessing in the long run will mean the same as the store. And GOG as well, we'll have that.
Yep.
So essentially, like those are pretty much just links. So like we will just expand all of that with the new site as well.
Yeah, right now it's just links. One of the things that we've been kind of exploring is, which kind of goes back to this like single source, is if I'm like a developer and I want to like push my game to all these platforms, like how does that work and how do I do that and how do I make sure that all that information is consistent? Like I have to manage that myself right now, so I have to like manage my own screenshots and manage what this says and make sure like if there's any updates that I'm giving them the most up-to-date version and all this stuff. Another like stretch goal is to become to where the game page has all that information and we can push to those sources that information. So
becoming the middleman for everyone, essentially.
Well, it should help regulate and be that like single source of truth and help devs push to those different storefronts.
It is, because that's a big part of it's stuff that you need to do, but it's stuff that folks don't have time to do.
Yeah,
a lot. So it's anything that, as a small company, that we can do to make our lives easier is always fantastic and welcome. So
it's a win-win thing as well.
She started snoring now, so I don't know if she's coming through on the mic, but
you're not supposed to let your wife sleep on the floor in your office, Jay.
She's over there. Oh, I got it. I've got it. Yeah.
Oh,
she's out cold. That's it.
that's funny.
All right. So so we talked about, all the ways that it saves time as a, indie dev to use this sort of stuff. We talked about, why to use it. We talked a little bit about where it's going to go in the near future. I've screwed up on my camera. So where can folks go to, reach out to you all? Because we're literally, I'm sitting here and I've got like this laundry list of features that I want now. How can they just join the community, hop on your Discord? Where's the best place to reach out and to get in touch with you all?
I would say the best places are probably Discord, or also
Discord
just via the site as well. If you sign up, as we mentioned earlier, we have a social feed on the site. So if you're not a big fan of Discord or don't have it, for example, you can just message us there. It'll be public and all, but we'll definitely reach out. Discord is probably the best place, to be honest, since it's both if you're an indie dev or if you use the API. We have a great community there that help each other. So for the API, we have plenty of devs that help each other with the different queries and technical questions, and our devs monitor the channels very closely as well to help out the community. If you're an indie dev, you can join and just showcase your game. We're totally cool with any kind of self-promotion. It's no big deal. And more often than not, we actually jump in as well, help them and on social media, on newsletter, etc. So we're always really keen on showcasing any of those. And also, if you're just a regular dude that just like game, just come and chat.
Yeah, you can.
Or girl.
Yeah, you can meet people. Whether it be like a voice actor, developer, someone building something. API, like with our API, like they're all there, and you can talk with them.
Discord's a fantastic tool that it really helps us doing what we want in bridging the gap. Because if you're just a regular gamer, you can come into our Discord, and there will be plenty of actual game developers there, or voice actors, or other industry professionals. So it's a fantastic way to just be involved with the industry as well.
Yeah.
And we really want to bring everyone around our own platform.
So, all right, to recap, you can, as an indie dev, you can go on there, create an entire product page for your game that's coming out. You can set a timer, like a launch window, and have a countdown page for that game. You can put all the games that you've already created on there as well. You can,
and if they're already there, you can edit them as well.
Yep. All right. And so then you've got it creates a press list for you.
Yep.
A press pack for you, press kit. You can reach out to what I'll call qualified gamers, to distribute beta keys and create a beta list. Basically, it's fantastic. It's awesome. I'm so glad that we've discovered this now.
It's a lot more coming, because obviously it's rough around the edges in some places, but that's the point of the redesign. And as I mentioned earlier, like we to releasing the first phase of the redesign, and roll from there. And we need all the feedback we want, we can get. So if you care to join, just come in.
And I'll be sure to give you guys invite you guys to Echelon too, which is like that front end to the API, so you can look at like different things, like look at publishers that have published games in certain genres and stuff like that.
Yeah, please, because I'm like the least technical person ever. So Indy, you got any other?
I do have a
questions?
question. I want to hear some shredding guitar solo from that Jackson guitar sitting in the
Drew.
Yeah, let's hear some fucking metal.
It's a bit complicated because I don't actually have an amp because I play through my
Computer.
sound card.
Ah.
So you won't actually hear anything.
So
But,
we're gonna play some
it
acoustic
anyway.
metal.
So what kind of music do you listen to and play? Death metal or speed metal or metal?
I'm not too picky, but I'm pretty into my death metal.
Into what?
My
You're cut. You cut
which is sorry. Yeah, I'm really into the old '90s death metal kind of thing. Really into doom as well.
like Slayer and Cannibal Corpse and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's what I listen to, dude. The 80s and 90s death metal. There's some good metal that's come out recently. I mean,
there's a big revival, definitely.
I listen to. Have you ever listened to, instead of like Pandora or whatever, I listen to Earbits. Earbits. Yeah, just check it out. It's online.
Oh,
it's an app, and they play. Like, you would listen to it for 2 weeks straight and never hear the same song twice. And it's just like all of these bands. There's like Russian and Tasmanian death metal, and just like there's like I've never heard this language before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't understand. Yeah, deicide. You can't understand what they're saying anyways, but you're like, I can't understand this death metal language that I've never heard this language before. But they're just like all kinds of weird, obscure metal that. And you're just like, oh God, I got to write this down because it's gone. And then that band will never be played again for days and days and days.
There's an interesting analogy that I've made once about the gaming industry and being into metal, is that there's definitely that sense of passion. Like, but unless you're into that sort of thing, people don't understand the passion.
Right.
And into gaming, and that's why it's so fantastic to work for something like IGDB, that like there's only one thing that we all care about. It's just we really like games. Yeah. And it's the same thing being into metal. Like, it doesn't really matter if it sounds like, pig squealings and like tumble dryers and,
and there's some great pig squealing metal.
To be fair, it doesn't really matter what language of death metal you listen to, because half the time you can't understand it anyway.
Well, it's not so much about the language, it's where it's from, because like I've heard that so much, like I can pretty much pinpoint what country they're from or what sound they're trying to emulate.
This is definitely Swedish black metal, or whatever.
That sounds stupid, but I can tell you if a band is from.
Yeah. Well,
just even by looking at the logo.
You should definitely listen to some Earbits then. You should
Earbits, Earbits. I'll check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I went every song. I have no idea who this band is. I don't know who this is. I've never heard this. It's just it's amazing. I mean, because I listen to like Sirius FM or XM, whatever, the satellite radio, and I listen to whatever. But then Earbits is just like, oh my God, this is just a whole new world. Because I've been listening to metal since the 80s, so yeah, that's.
I want to go online and register Tasmanian Death Metal just as the name of the studio now, because it's that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, well, I used to live in Australia. That's where I did all my studies, and when I was in Melbourne, which is not far at all from Australia, or from Tasmania. I was far, it's pretty much. And I got to see a lot of bands from Tasmania, and for a place that has literally nothing, they have some very good death metal. Psychroptic is probably one of Australia's biggest export when it comes to metal, and they're from Hobart, and like they literally they just don't want to play too.
You can tell Australian death metal because it's all da 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 da, mate.
There's no, I suppose you could say that.
That is awesome. Well,
no, guys, I just made that shit up. That's not real.
We absolutely love having you on. This is we're
that was really fun.
Again.
Yeah, it's fun.
Once
definitely
once everything goes live, let's get back on here again and do a walk.
Oh hell yeah!
And because you've created something, either as an accident or through pure design that is fantastic, and it solves a whole lot of wait, we have a question.
Yeah, we have a question. You want me to read it?
Oh,
Go ahead, you do it.
I have a question, please. It's from Vice7. I'm working on a game, been posting on Twitter, been reaching out by 2 publishers who are interested in the game and want me to propose my needs to them. I want to work on my game full time, but after taxes, self-employment taxes, I need about 100K to replace my current income for 1.5 years that I think I need to complete the game. Is 100K too much to ask for from an indie publisher?
So no, it is not too much to ask. It's a reasonable schedule. I mean, a reasonable figure, but what you're going to absolutely have to prove to get, even 1K from a publisher is that, you know what you're doing, frankly. And so you're going to need, if this is your first game, you're going to absolutely have to have a playable demo of the game to show to the publishers. But no, 100K is not. I mean, you see indie games being pitched to publishers anywhere from 350 to 750K isn't unreasonable. You can ask for whatever you want to ask, but you have to be able to back that up and say, this is why we need it. This is how many people we're going to have working on it, and make sure you think through everything, not just.
Yeah, you can't just be, well, my current income is this, so I need this much to replace this income. The good thing to do if you want to talk more about it is to get in the Discord and pick Jay's brain for sure. Yeah. It's snowing there. He's got the time. Oh, you're a solo dev, so you think you're getting a lot of the values. You do art code and everything. I actually want to. I love solo devs. I would love to check out your game. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've got something up, link it. Make you a page on.
Yeah.
GDB.
Yeah.
And so
have to be released. Like we can set it up as a beta, alpha, early access, etc. So don't worry if it's not released. We can still help you out.
For sure.
There you go. And then you get your press kit and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, and we can help you out on social media, do a shout out, feature you in the newsletter, etc.
Oh God, it looks gorgeous.
Now the whole stream pauses while we go.
Yeah. I would totally play this.
That looks really cool.
Oh shit! I want to play it.
Oh, fancy pixel art.
Yeah, but it's 3D.
Very cool.
That is
Very
awesome,
cool.
dude. I want to play that game.
Yeah, looking good.
Hop on our Discord and we'll get everything set up.
Yes, and if you would like to talk with a solo dev, Tobor Prime is working on the Shards of Gozen right now, which that game is effing amazing. The Shards of Gozen. Did I say that right?
I was thinking
did I say that right, Tobor? I said it wrong, didn't I? Only because I'm a boss in the game. Yes, I am a boss in the game. But no. The Shard of Gozen. Savage, the Shard of Gozen. That's what it's called. I got that wrong. Where's the videos of the game, dude? And Tobor, he does everything. Music, art, animation, freaking every freaking thing.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive.
And you guys got to check out the promo video on the Steam page because it's badass. It's very 80s. You know what? I'm just gonna play it. So hold on. Let me get to this right here.
What was it called?
Shroud, wreathed in the blood of the slain.
The trophies of the doomed heaped upon his head.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, I see.
And his power, placed in the palm of your own hands. Planet Tobor brings you an action-adventure the likes of which you've never seen. Explore an open world full of mystery and danger in new, breathtaking,
Barbaric processing.
engage enemies and terrifying creatures in fierce, positional, and skill-based combat. Arm yourself with the weapons and gear of legend. Level up to increase your power. forge new equipment and gain the favor of the gods.
There's
Subscribe to the Planet
yes.
Tobor
In the promo
Get
video.
access to tips, tricks, and all the latest codes to help you become the barbarian and
I
bring
have so
the
much more
Argeshi
respect for
Empire
you
to
do
its
all of this
knees.
stuff. You
I know, yeah.
It's there's a lot that goes into creating games, and some people just like they take it for granted. And it's like, oh well, you know, you just have to do sound. Well, that's not easy. You know, it's
Oh, definitely not.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool,
Soon to
Tobo.
your home computing system.
Available coming soon. Ah!
Revenge.
But I have it in my my Steam account. So screw you
Pretty
guys.
neat.
I've already got it.
Yeah, I checked.
But
We
yeah,
have it on the site, but it needs a bit of updating. So I'll do that right after this.
If you watch the
Oh, yeah.
the outro in my stream, that the boss in that game is in my outro. I actually, because in the outro to my stream, there is like the little indie ogre character, and he fights stuff. So the indie ogre is me, but then I fight that boss, and so I'm actually fighting myself. But it's in pixel art. I need to
Confusing.
get I need to put some sounds to that, Tobor. I got that
Badass.
video made and there's no sounds. Indeception, right? So it's me watching myself fight myself. But,
It gets all meta.
Yeah.
Why not?
You know.
Yeah, very.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I mean,
Yeah,
this
thank
was
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
entirely, you know, enlightening. And so we're gonna definitely push you guys from here on out. Make sure that folks get signed up. And
Oh yeah.
you know, if anyone's got any questions, hit our Discord, sign up.
oh,
and-
I have one question. So when did the actual IGDB, like when did it go live? Has it been live for a while, or
The current,
the current?
yeah, I touched up on that a bit earlier.
you
The
know.
the domain's been acquired in 2012, if I recall.
Yeah.
It's been a hobby project pretty much since then, and it
Since then?
became a business in about early 2015.
Okay, all right.
So it's been up as a hobby for a while, technically speaking. So that's why it's been like slow build, and that's why there's so many features now, and that's why we redesigned. When you start as a hobby project with many developers, it becomes quickly a monolith.
So the
now we-
the current iteration is a couple years old, then, right? Basically,
Yeah, like pretty much, yes.
and the
So,
new
yeah.
redesign is coming very soon. All right, so
Yeah,
everyone,
yes,
I
yes.
suggest you get in there and build up their feed. Build up the feed because you got a feed in
Yeah,
there.
like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna come in there and spam a bunch of stuff. So
oh, yeah, I mean, you're welcome to post your stream every time you go live, you know.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, we'll definitely
Awesome.
be in touch when we relaunch.
relaunch.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We'll be around. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it'll be soon.
Soonish.
Soon.
That's always
Soon.
soon-ish. Is always a
Yeah, like
Excellent.
no promises in case something happens, you know, but soonish.
soon-ish.
No later than Q1 2019. Just gonna say that. Right, Jiro?
Yeah, sure.
That gives you a nice
Tomorrow.
3-month cushion in there to work with.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
That's it. Thank you guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
Cheers.
Yep.
Talk soon.
Right.
See y'all soon.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.